I recently, as in the last couple or 2 or 3 days, missed a dose of my Trintellix medication, and it has severely messed me up. Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. I apologize that I haven't posted in quite a while. This last month has just been so crazy for me. It's just been incredibly busy and hectic, and so much has happened. I did have 2 videos in store for you guys that I was planning on making this week. One is basically about my wedding and my anxiety success stories. My wedding went really well, and I did so much to prepare for it in order to get through the day, and I did a lot of counseling and seeing doctors and seeing psychiatrists and all sorts of different things, and learned a lot of coping techniques so that I would not only get through the day, but I would enjoy the day as well, which was really important to me. So I am planning on making a video for you guys where I kind of explain what things I did to prep for my wedding, to deal with my anxiety, what medications I took, and what coping techniques that I used. And I just want to share basically my positive success story with you guys so that you can feel inspired if you are also having anxiety about upcoming events of your own, and just so that you know that it is possible to have that inner strength and have a really positive experience, even if it's something that's making you really anxious inside. So I have that video coming up for you guys soon, and I also have another video that I'm going to do for you guys where I basically explain my experience going to a psych ward. I had to go there basically to meet up with a new psychiatrist, and it was definitely an interesting experience. It was my first time being in a psych ward, and I'm going to tell you guys all about that and the scary receptionist who made me feel like a crazy person. I'm going to explain to you guys all about my experience meeting with this new psychiatrist and the suggestions that he had for me in terms of my medication and my mental health situation, and also all about my new collaborative care situation that I'm going to have going on with my doctors. So those are the 2 videos that I had planned to make for you guys, and today obviously I am doing neither of those, and the reason for that is because I recently, as in the last couple or 2 or 3 days, missed a dose of my Trintellix medication, and it has severely messed me up. I just felt like it was important to make this video for you guys today as kind of like a public service announcement about what can happen if you do miss a dose of the Trintellix, if you are on that medication, because it was a lot more severe than any experience that I've had in the past. So I just feel like it's important to talk about. So basically, I have been on antidepressants for the last probably around 2.5 or so years, and in those last 2.5 years, I have obviously had times where I've accidentally forgotten to take a dose of my medication. And when I was on Brintellix, that happened a few times, and it was usually made me feel maybe a little bit off, but it wasn't that crazy. It wasn't that severe of a reaction. I kind of just realized, oh no, I forgot to take my Brintellix yesterday, and then made sure that I didn't miss it again, and took it at my normal time and that whole thing. And sometimes it made me feel slightly more anxious or a little jittery or something like that. So it wasn't the greatest thing. Like, obviously it was bad that I had missed my dose, but it never did anything crazy to me. That was not the case with missing my Trintellix medication. Like, oh my god, I don't even really know where to start. So maybe around 3 days ago, I was just really busy and I had a lot of stuff going on, and the problem for me is that I have to take my Trintellix with food, because if I don't, I get really upset stomach. So if I forget to take it with my meal, I have to wait till my next meal to take it, and if I forget it then, it's pretty much out the window for me. So I basically forgot to take it with dinner, and then by the time I realized, I was going to bed and I didn't want to get up and have to like take a whole bunch of food, like go and eat a bunch of food in order to take it, and I kind of forgot about it, and I just went to bed, and the next day I realized, oh crap, yesterday I forgot to take my Trintellix medication. But I figured, oh well, it's okay, I'll just take it tonight and it'll be no big deal. Ha, that's funny. So I started having a bit of nausea the next day and a bit of a headache, and I figured, you know, well, that makes sense. I missed my dose yesterday. It's probably just my body reacting to that and having kind of a mini withdrawal from the meds. And the nausea made sense because it does tend to cause gastrointestinal stuff in me and in most people, and so missing a dose would obviously mess that whole system up a little bit. So I was feeling a little nauseous, a little bit off, and a little sluggish, but nothing too crazy. So the next day, I was not myself at all. I'm generally a really patient, tolerant person. Like, obviously I have bad days and I get grumpy like anybody does, and you know, I have off days where I have a little bit less patience or I'm a little bit grumpier or having a bad day. That wasn't what this was. This was definitely medication induced. This was not who I am as a person, and it was scary the extent to which it affected me. So I was incredibly irritable. I was incredibly like, grumpy isn't even the right word to describe it. I was angry. Like, I had this like white hot rage running through my veins, and that is not who I am as a person at all. I just was not tolerant to anything, any little things that happened during the day or that my husband did or anything like that. It just made me so irritable. Like, I just was not resilient at all. My tolerance level was at like a -5. I was so angry about everything. I was just in the worst mood. I would snap like at little things, and it just wasn't who I am at all. So that definitely wasn't great for me. It wasn't great for my husband. It wasn't great for probably anyone who was around me that day. Luckily, I pretty much stayed home that day, so probably was for the best. Otherwise, I likely would have snapped at somebody else. But like I said, that's not who I am at all, and so I just felt so off. I just felt so awful inside, like not myself at all. And then the day after that was like the opposite. Like, if the day before had been like white hot rage, the next day was just this dark, sad depression. I've been feeling pretty good mood-wise for the most part, and pretty level being on this med, but definitely that like third-ish day, oh my goodness, that was yesterday for me. So I felt very lethargic. I felt off, like I felt too hot. I felt sick to my stomach. I felt like my brain was fuzzy. I just felt like, I can't even describe it, like in just such a low point, such a low mood. I was just so sad and depressed, and it wasn't like I was sat there crying. It was like I was empty. I felt dead inside. I felt just like a shell of a person who was just sat there. I had no motivation to do anything. It was awful. There's no other way to say it. I was like in a very dark place yesterday, and basically the only way I can use to describe it is just blackness. My mood was dark yesterday. So it basically, missing this one dose of the Trintellix resulted in this 3-day saga of horribleness, which started with like feeling sick and gross, and like I kind of had the flu, which morphed into me basically being this like really angry, rage-filled person who couldn't tolerate anything, and like everything was making me upset and annoyed, and I felt so irritable. It was like the worst PMS that you can imagine, but like 10 times worse. Which then morphed into me just being this depressed shell of a person who, like, so dark. So today I'm finally feeling a lot more like myself, but I'm still not 100% even now, and this is probably day 4, and I still am not back to normal 100%. I definitely feel a lot better today. I'm a lot brighter. I have a little bit more motivation, obviously, because I'm filming this. But yeah, basically, I just wanted to make this video to let you guys know that medications affect people differently, but also different medications react differently when you do things like come off of them or miss a dose or whatever the case may be. So whilst I could get away with missing a dose of the Trintellix without it affecting me too badly, definitely that is not the case with this medication. The vortioxetine it just threw me for a loop. It's been 4 days since I missed my dose and I'm still not back to normal, and it definitely wasn't a fun experience for me. It wasn't a fun experience for anyone who was around me. So I just want to let you guys know that that might be the case with this med. So if you are on it, it's Trintellix in Canada, it's called Brintellix in the States. Its chemical name is vortioxetine. If you are on this medication, be really careful and responsible when taking it, and just realize that missing a dose might have big ramifications for you. Also, as well, you know, if you're planning on coming off of this med, I feel like this is a good indicator of the strength of this medication and how it's actually altering your brain so much. Like, I just wasn't myself at all. I was acting in ways that I wouldn't act, and it was definitely a result of the medication. It does make me a little concerned for when I do eventually come off this medication or try to come off of it, and I'll be talking more about my medication plans in my video about the psychiatrist visit. But basically I am planning on coming off of this medication pretty soon and trying something else, so I am extremely nervous for that. If missing 1 dose of this med made me act and feel the way that it did, I am nervous for coming off the meds completely. I think the key is going to be to come off extremely slowly and wean down very gradually. So if you are on this medication, be really careful, you know, set an alarm or something to help you remember to take it. And if you are planning on coming off of it, this is definitely not one of those meds that you're gonna want to drop cold turkey. This is something you're definitely going to want to wean off of very slowly. So work with your doctor for it. You know, I'm going to be talking to my doctor about it as well next week. So yeah, I basically just wanted to make this video to let you guys all know my experience with this, and if any of you guys have experienced a similar thing, I would be super interested in hearing from you. And again, if you're interested in staying up to date on my videos that I have coming up, like my anxiety success story and my psychiatry visit, going to the psych ward, definitely subscribe to my channel and you'll get a notification when those videos are out. I'm really hoping it'll be within the next little while, and not keep you guys waiting super long. So now that my wedding is said and done, I will hopefully have a little bit more time. Right now my biggest struggle is just motivation and stuff, and just the way I've been feeling. If you liked this video or you found it helpful, please give it a thumbs up, and I will talk to you guys in the next one.